You know what I mean with the women and the dating and all and the airplane food.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Juanita is going to be here all week for you.
I'm in the back of the casino, not the front stage, in the back.
Yes, that needs to happen. Well, we're going to do that. Just one stand-up show of yours.
That's a good idea.
It'll be about 30 seconds long, all about airplane
All
food.
90s. All 90s comedy shtick.
Exactly. Hello, everyone who's tuning in to our show. This is Trends with Benefits, our weekly show where we gather a roundtable of experts here at Digital Trends to talk about the tech topics of the day. And we've got a bunch of things we're going to get to today, including brand new news from Uber about self-driving cars. We're going to be talking about a robotic octopus or an octopus robot. I don't know which way to say that. And a lot of other things that are going on, including AI learning from Reddit. But first, let's go through here and see who we've got on the show. I'm your host, Greg Nibbler, and to my right,
I'm Brad Burke.
Brad Burke. Hello, Brad.
How's it going?
Yeah.
Good. That was
That's
right.
about it.
Sweet. Okay.
That's it.
I'm Ryan Juanita.
Comedian for the day. Ryan Juanita.
Ryan Juanita.
Ryan Juanita. And on the end, we've got a very special guest joining us. It is Mr. Keeling King.
Hello.
Hello, Keeling. So Keeling is not only a musician, which we're going to talk about that here in a bit, with Star Pilot, which is the shirt. That's good branding right there.
Yeah,
Wearing the shirt. That's
You're
smart
come out of
branding.
the house proper.
I don't know about the Detroit Pistons hat that you're wearing, but
Man,
we'll skip that part.
I like to look like a winner.
Damn it. But you also work for Nike as well.
I work as a contractor.
So I should delete that from
you
the
should
podcast.
Probably like.
Okay. Keelan does stuff. Works for things. Whoops. Okay. Did I just get you in trouble with that? Okay, I probably did.
You know
so
what?
Anyway, that's what
I'll
we get
find
with
out
live.
tomorrow when I don't have a job.
So Keelan's unemployed if you have anybody that's looking for some work. All right, let's get to the first story here, though, right off the bat. We'll leave that in the past.
Said night gig. He said you have a night gig.
Yeah, a night gig.
Work for a night gig.
Yeah, which I'm sure you do. So, Uber in the news today, and we all know that they have been talking about getting into autonomous vehicles. It's the big thing right now. Tesla's doing it. Google's working on it. Apple's supposedly working on some kind of Apple car, which I'm not sure about that one. But Uber has made it no secret that they're working towards this. However, I don't think anybody realized how quickly they were going to move on it. And right now, it's been announced that they have had autonomous self-driving cars out on the road in Pittsburgh for the last couple of months. They've had these out there, and they're going to continue using this. The way it's working is it's a car from Volvo. They just had a $300 million deal with Volvo for these Volvo Car Corp XC90 sport utility vehicles is a technical term. And they're planning on getting this out there. Their ultimate goal is to get rid of the human interaction part of it. There's going to be no human. As we were talking about before the show, it's basically Johnny Cab from Total Recall. Thank you. But with these are out there right now, and they've got the system in place. They're testing it. There is a human there that's driving. Well, not driving. They just sit there if there's any kind of issue. I guess they only take over if you're going over a bridge. That's the only time. They don't trust it over a bridge, which makes it a little suspect to me already.
Are they afraid it's just going to turn off the road and kill
I don't know.
everybody?
I don't know. Yeah, it's got like some spasm. It's like,
Life has no meaning.
This is it. You can't trust the autonomous cars already. They're just depressed.
I'm actually looking forward to it crashing into someone and exploding when they don't pay. I'm hoping that happens.
From said movie, Total Recall.
But these are out there right now, and I'm curious what you guys think. Like, if they rolled this out into your town, like say they was here in Portland, even if there is somebody in there, would you trust it enough? Would you trust Uber enough to get into one of their cars?
Yeah, I mean, it's the easy way to go. I guess we just trust Uber no matter what. We trusted them when they started raping people and whatever else happened with all that.
Isn't this theoretically? Well, isn't
I mean,
this
Uber's
theoretically
just so
safer
convenient.
if you're going to go straight to that, I mean, isn't this
They
more?
murdered
Isn't
people.
this safer from like a driver's standpoint?
Yeah,
in that you're
exactly.
removing drivers, and also, like we talked about from a like safety in
Zero
driving
Uber
standpoint.
coupons coming this
Well, I'm just
way.
saying the trouble that Uber's had has come from the people. So yeah, I mean, but it would be so weird. Can you imagine like calling one up and there's nobody inside?
Well, I think it is. I think, like you're saying, it's weird that they built this company on the idea that there was a huge workforce of people who didn't have
Exactly.
access to other jobs,
We're gonna
but
get
did
a
have
bunch
access
of
to a
people
car.
jobs.
And now you're going to come back on that and be like, well,
And
now
we're
that we built
pulling
the
that away.
infrastructure, we're going to take as many people out as possible.
And now that we've killed the taxi, unions in a bunch of cities, we're going to pull away all of those jobs because, eventually none of us are going to have jobs anyway, right?
Well, yeah, the robots are taking over. We all know
Exactly.
that part. But I mean, this is what they're going to be doing. I mean, if people are going to ride in it, then I guess they're justified for doing it. I
mean-
mean, I'll tell you, I don't think I trust Uber 100%. I'm still on the fence about autonomous driving anyway, even if it
Right.
is, I mean, and this is nothing against Uber or Lyft or taxi drivers, but we all know sometimes you get the drivers that aren't always the most reputable. This happened to me.
Usually
Maybe
with
this is just to me.
taxis, for me.
Usually, yeah, it can happen. And I'm supposed to trust that guy to pay attention to what's going on. Oh yeah, if it messes up, dude, don't worry, I got you. I'm not going to trust that guy.
Hey, I've seen some ridiculously awful human drivers. I'm kind of okay with this. I really don't have a problem with it.
I mean, that really is the future eventually, once they remove the human driver, like, especially. I mean, that is sort of what else can go wrong? I guess once they figure out autonomous driving. I guess, they haven't figured that out yet.
I think the biggest problem you're going to have is that in-between period where there's a mix of autonomous and human drivers, because you're still going to have that unpredictability.
Yeah.
But I think it'll even out once you have completely autonomous driving. Like, I'm just waiting until I can get in my car and go to sleep and still get to work. Like, that's all I want to do. But I can tell that, like, you're still going to have people who aren't sure what the automated cars are going to do. So there's going to be accidents because of that. There's going to be all these weird things where, like, people and the machines kind of clash. And then once that kind of wanes out and there's just autonomous driving, the accidents will go down. Things will be a lot safer. It'll be a lot more reliable, because the machines are obviously just running on a program, which is going to result in a lot fewer accidents.
But right now, I mean, they still haven't figured it out. I mean, we saw that with Tesla. Like, a shiny thing on the road can cause a horrible accident.
I thought we saw that they kind of have figured it out, because it was like the amount, at least the amount of accidents that happen per mile, that there's like hundreds of millions of miles on self-driving cars, and there's been one fatality.
Right.
And if you look at like human error,
it's
way
better than
higher.
human. Yeah, that's a good point.
that this is already a significant
I
improvement.
think
over how
people
long
are
humans can
expecting
drive.
0 accidents to be like,
Right.
okay, now it's safe. But that's not how anything works.
But then there's the control factor. It's like, if I'm in control of my own destiny, even though I'm not, I feel like I am, and
Right.
that losing control, and just we're all. And let's also say that this autonomous car future is at least 30 years off, because people are going to drive their cars, and there's nothing going to be banning people from driving.
Right.
so-
I mean,
no, I don't
it
think
won't
so.
be
I think you'll
banned.
see it in major cities.
at least not for a
lot sooner than
long
you will,
time. Yeah.
like rural areas. People
Right.
will still be driving their
Yeah,
own
good
You
cars.
might even see different infrastructure for it. Like, I know in Portland there's electric car ports
Right.
where you can plug your car in, and we might see a similar thing where it's like, oh, this is the HOV lane is for self-driving cars, so like your autonomous car
Yeah,
goes like
that makes
pull
sense.
over into that lane, and
Right.
all the cars that drive themselves
Right.
are in that lane.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that where they separate it out. So there's then you have the two different classes of people: the ones who want to do that and the ones who refuse to do that. For me, it'll take me a long time. There'll have to be a lot of work done for me to relinquish that control, even if it's just riding. I mean, I take Uber and Lyft all the time, but at least it is a person. Although, I guess you can go back and forth.
Yeah, it's the
there's a few
statistics,
times where I
right?
might wish it was somebody else driving.
Well, and to your point about Uber specifically, I mean,
Yeah.
they are the ones that created the tracking technology that allowed this kind of ride system to work. So they're
Yeah.
definitely, like, with all the little minor troubles they've had moving into different cities and everything, they've definitely shown their prowess with the technology.
Yeah, and that's part of what they did too. They're buying up all the the mapping technology, a lot of things to make sure they can do it. Something else that they're also purchasing that all this is just kind of coming out today is that they are purchasing a company called Otto. It's OTTO, and they're a company that it's founded by two senior engineers from Google's self-driving car and mapping divisions. So they're very reputable people who have founded this company. And what they're trying to do is retrofit trucks like semis for freight to make them self-driving. So it's a whole kit, basically, they would retrofit these things with.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out, we were talking about The Simpsons last week.
Yes.
And The Simpsons did this already. I just wanted to put that out
Simpsons
there.
did. Simpsons did.
That Homer Simpson becomes a truck driver and discovers that there are automatic driving units in the car, and then he gets caught basically because he's sitting on the hood of a truck while a bus goes by, and the truck is driving 60 miles an hour down the freeway.
So there we go.
Yeah, we're in the future. That's crazy, man. I mean, this is seriously sci-fi movie stuff right
And it's
now.
really something that's come up. And I know if you're listening via podcast, you can't see this, but there's a video. We'll put it up at
terrifying.
digitaltrends.com.
It is
and it is.
terrifying.
Oh my
It
God,
shows
there's
a
no
truck-
one there.
It reminds me of, like, yes, the
That's-
trucks are, like, taking over. It's like Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah,
a
who
little
made
bit.
who?
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's what it is. I mean,
I mean, would you feel better if they just stuck a mannequin in the driver's seat?
Yeah, maybe
Actually,
a little
yeah.
bit.
It would make me more
Just
comfortable.
driving
Hey,
next
that
to it.
plastic man is driving.
Just driving next to it. Can you imagine? You're like, you do the little symbol to
And it
honk
just
the
doesn't
horn, and there's no one in there, man.
Do you think
Just
it
a
sees
smiling
do you think
mannequin.
It can see like the thing, and if it sees a kid
Yeah,
doing the thing,
Yeah,
There
it's
you
just a
go.
camera on
It's
the
got a little
side
camera.
watching for little kids.
As long as they bring the horn thing, then I'm okay with it. And again, as we talked about earlier, at least they're cutting out the meth factor, which is always something you have to put into the equation.
We're not going to be popular with Uber drivers or truck drivers after this show.
Let's
I
just
think
say that, they've been known to pop some pills.
that's it.
I don't know
18-hour
anything-
trek.
I don't know anything about truck driving.
Well, let me tell you, they were a rough and tumble crowd. No, I'm just joking.
You spend enough time at a truck stop, you learn a few things.
I'm going to try to remain welcome at truck stops.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I have to
exactly.
travel from time to time.
That's a good
Exactly. But this kind of thing seems like that could even happen quicker than some of the other stuff, because if you just have trucks
Yeah.
on the freeways,
And you have a lot of money to go into that tech, and you don't have
Yeah.
as many vehicles. I mean, there are a lot of trucks on the road, but
right. But that is definitely something I could see actually transpiring quick. And I want to know if you're watching too on YouTube right now. Let us know your comments on this, whether you think this is something that you're all for. I mean, I guess really, essentially, you'd cut down on some money of paying a person. That
and a whole job.
and
market.
a whole job market that would go under. So
I honestly think like this, and this is bigger than like just like the transportation stuff we've been talking about. I often wonder if it's this kind of thing that like completely revamps society.
Yeah.
And so, when we have these kind of utopian futures where we don't rely on money anymore, and we have all these different things where, for example, like a Star Trek universe where there's no money anymore, people just kind of all have jobs, everybody gets what they need, and they do things, but they don't have this same kind of job pay structure.
Right.
And I wonder if stuff like this where everything gets automated is what drives a change like that, where it could actually be possible.
I mean, that's the end of capitalism. That's the end of.
Oh yeah, I mean, it would be.
autonomy.
I think it would be an ugly transition because everybody's used to doing things one way.
Yeah.
But I wonder, how else do you support a society when
Right.
more and more of your industries are becoming automated? At some point, you aren't paying enough people to keep society running the same way that it has for the last few hundred years.
Well, we all know the key to that is the replicator. We need,
Yes,
we need that
yes.
bad boy.
that is obviously
once we
what
have
need.
that,
Once we
we're
get the
golden.
replicator, we're going to be okay.
Between Simpsons and Star Trek, we've got all of our problems
It's
solved.
true.
Well, along these lines, somebody else who's clearly investing in everything for the future is Elon Musk, and there's more information coming out about the Hyperloop, and he's been a part of that. Obviously, he's not on the ground floor all the time, but he is certainly invested in a lot of these things. And this is news about the Hyperloop because they've been working on it in Southern California, and ostensibly that's what the plan was, where they're going to lay down some stuff. I know Rick Stella from Digital Trends went down there and saw some of the test track, which I guess they just had it laid out there. I don't think it really moved, but they showed it. You could stand there and look at it. And now, though, it's sounding like Dubai, of all places, they've just reached a contract with them to start exploring putting it in there first and using it in Dubai to transport freight, probably at first, but then also people. So it's an interesting place to go to. I guess they do have the money. I don't know. Again, it seems kind of weird that they would be going to Dubai to me. That seems a little odd out of all places. But I guess you do have to move some freight there.
Well, A, you're gonna have to move freight. B, they have money. And
Yeah, they
C,
do have a lot of money.
They probably don't have a fraction of the red tape that we have
Yeah.
here to
Yeah.
get all these different groups to agree to something before
Absolutely.
you can actually put something in.
I don't want
They
that in
probably
my
got a
backyard,
few,
so
yeah,
what?
yeah, and they probably got a whole few. They got a handful of people that are like, no, this is getting done.
Yeah.
There's no real discussion about it.
Well, Dubai is one of the strangest countries on earth. I mean,
Yeah, it's just a money. Yeah.
You can read whole articles about the labor force that they bring in,
That
and the
too.
conditions, but they also are so famous for building massive monuments. So in some ways, it makes a lot of sense that they would go
That
ahead
they
with
would go
some
for it.
crazy, new technology.
I mean, this is the kind of system. If Hyperloop were to come to fruition, if it does, that's something I would totally be absolutely
Yeah, no, that's
100%
a
behind.
fantastic
Way more for me
idea.
than
And we
Uber.
need something like that more. I mean, if you look at our railroad system, it's basically in shambles.
Yeah.
It hasn't been updated, and they aren't actually putting in like the high speed trains like was all the rage when I think Obama first got in office. It was all this talk
that
about
we were gonna
infrastructure
do it like
and
Japan
high speed
and like
trains.
Europe.
Yeah.
Well, and then he got blocked, and
then he got blocked, and
yeah.
all that went out the window. So it's like I would love to see something like that because it means we're looking forward, like we're trying to innovate and do new things.
Well, unlike the space race we've been seeing lately, it's all going commercial. Like if the government's not
Yeah.
going to give us some kind of infrastructure, then other
Amazon's
companies
gonna
are
do
willing
it.
to fill that gap.
Yeah.
So if they want to try it in Dubai first, maybe if it looks good over there, maybe
Yeah,
they get more
test it out.
contracts in the U.S.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess they have some feasibility studies for, obviously for LA, they talked about that, but also in Finland, Sweden, Switzerland, and Russia. They're all looking at laying down some track over there as well.
Now, I read one of the articles today about this in particular. One of the questions I have, because I don't remember, I haven't read one of the articles about this for a long time. Are all of the Hyperloop plans for, I guess, short-term installations, or are they looking at things that are like kind of like interstate?
Like long range travel.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure eventually they would. The main one they've all been talking about for so long is the LA to San Francisco one.
That's the one I remember. Yeah.
Which I
I
think
think they
turns it
just
into
want
like a
us-
half hour.
And that was like
Right.
that was a high speed train target too. Like
Right.
you were saying. Like,
Yeah.
that was one of the places they were
Originally.
like, that would be the place.
Right,
That
right.
people want to go.
Yeah, because you're talking about connecting two massive economic powers.
Yeah.
And people that can move.
That people go back and forth between those two anyway,
Exactly.
and cut out that drive or the flight. Yeah, that would be a tremendous thing.
I
So, yeah.
think like the first idea though is just get it on the ground and get people in it and see if
Right.
it works. And
Right.
then we can kind of like
Sure. I
see
mean,
if it blows up.
that's
or-
true. I mean, you get it out there and get some footage and get it to the general population, because I think a lot of people just really have no idea what it is or have even heard about it. So if you haven't, there's plenty of details at digitaltrends.com.
If you haven't
can
heard
read up
about
on
it, it's like those bank tubes where you get
It is. Yeah, that's
your check.
it's like a bank tube, only we're sending people through bank tubes on the ground. That's what it is. We're going to shoot you to San Francisco.
in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's it. So anyway, the Hyperloop one, some news on that. Switching from transportation, something else that Elon Musk is involved in. And again, I guess we're going pretty much all future here on the show today. If you have any questions or things that you want us to talk about, please drop those into the YouTube comments and we'll get to those. But this is a group that Elon Musk is involved in everything. Can we
The
just
future
admit
is
that?
now.
The future is Elon Musk. He knows. Imagine what he knows just at his palace that he's living in there. So he has invested in this company called OpenAI, and it's a nonprofit artificial intelligence company, and it's backed by a bunch of people, but Elon Musk is one of them. And their goal, what they're using right now, is a supercomputer, a DGX1 supercomputer. Brad?
Yeah, it's an Nvidia device that
Nvidia.
uses like a series of high-end graphics cards
Okay.
to produce a massive amount of not just the thing about graphics cards really basically is that a processor uses 2 or 4 or even like 10 cores, whereas a high-end graphics card will have 2,000 cores running
Okay.
at a very low base clock. So they're running a lot slower, but there's a lot of different operations happening all at once.
And that's what they're talking about. That said, computations that would normally take 250 hours, they can do it in 10 hours.
Yeah.
So a massive computer, a supercomputer. And
Yeah, that's what I got out of
actually
that.
only
yeah,
like-
it's a supercomputer.
It's a big computer. It's
like this
real
big.
good.
Well, that sounds like it's got a lot
that
of bells
sounds
and
like a real fancy
It's
computer.
actually it's like a rack mount, like a
Oh, really? It's that
double tall
small?
rack mount, so it's like probably that tall and this deep, that wide.
Okay, I was picturing like a warehouse in Nevada
Well, you might
desert.
have more than one. I mean, like a single DGX
Rolls
was
of
like that
tape.
big.
When was the last time you saw a supercomputer?
Rolls of tape.
Was it like 1958?
Feed
Like
glimpse cards into
was
it.
that? Pretty much, yeah.
You're bringing it on a truck with like
Yeah, and they store like the Ark in
Giant
there and,
reels of
all
tape
Indiana
on it.
Jones stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
That's what it is.
I assume. Anyway, what they're doing to
the
teach this,
supercomputer.
they want to teach this AI unit to they want to build up, and I'm quoting what the article here at digitaltrends.com, a probabilistic understanding of conversation, and they want it to learn how to essentially engage in polite conversation. But they're doing this by feeding it threads from Reddit. Reddit is what they're using as the basis of polite interaction and language, and that to me is more terrifying to me than anything else that they've done. That if they're really, I mean, this is a legitimate company backing this. Legitimately could make some big leaps and bounds in AI, and they're using Reddit. that should be scarier than anything else that's out there right now.
But specifically, they're using Reddit AMAs. Is that correct? Or are they just using Reddit in general?
They don't actually specify.
They just want some conversationality.
It's
out of it.
just Reddit.
I feel like this is
threads
this is going
from
down
Reddit.
The road of, what was that bot that was on Twitter?
Hey, I was about to mention
Yes.
this.
That was
Exactly.
a disaster,
That-
and I feel like this is just. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I feel like honestly, it's a disaster waiting to happen. But if you actually want your AI to work, you probably need to feed it
Some
Reddit,
disasters.
right? You probably need to feed it some of the worst language it's going to get
Right.
before
Yeah.
it can figure it out.
Definitely going to teach it how to stay off task because somebody will have a conversation starter and then, oh God, the comments went off the rails.
And then it turns into a Nazi in 5
every
minutes.
single time.
It's also going to consistently try and finish song lyrics for you if like regular Reddit threads are any indication. That if you say anything that's like part of a song, it'll just continue that song.
So AI is just going to be a really lonely, annoying person. Basically.
It also hates No Man's Sky. It's also
Yeah.
furious
It's like
about
the
the lack of
Very
worst game
angry,
ever made.
irate.
That's right.
Really, Reddit hates No Man's Sky?
Oh yeah, they've been like
Man, the internet has been on fire. Like,
Keelan is a big No Man's
Yeah,
Sky.
no,
Not to
you know,
get
I've
off
been-
topic too much, but yeah. I know
yeah,
you're
I mean, these guys have been listening to me
that's
talk
such a
about
cool
it for
idea,
years,
yeah.
and I've actually been enjoying the hell out of that game.
yeah.
And
Well, what do they expect? It's like there's a quintillion planets or whatever.
I
Like,
don't-
what do they expect?
And I think that's the thing that bugs me. I mean,
Yeah.
is that very
That's
high
what
concept.
it
It's like,
is.
what did you like? Did you actually think like you were going to put the game on and then you were going to be launched into space? Like, what did you think was going to happen?
Or it was just going to be Halo or something?
Right.
Like, what are you expecting out of this game?
I heard someone complaining about no multiplayer support. I'm like, what are you going to do? Like, walk around and look at rocks together? Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand.
yeah, people keep saying they really want. They're like, why is it's got to have co-op? And it's like you're not gonna find your friend, and if you do, you're both gonna just walk around and like
Discover
I picked up the
dinosaurs or
thing.
something.
Yeah.
Like,
So-
what are you going to, yeah.
So this is what the AI is going to sound like.
Yeah,
I'm
this
already
is what the AI is gonna do.
No, the AI is going to be more angry.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I can't tell you how many
have
ridiculous No
more-
Man's Sky anti-memes I've seen in
Yeah.
the last week and a half.
Baseless arguments.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just we're angry because other people like something. I'm like, I don't get it.
Well, that's the basis
Well,
of the
it's
internet.
Also,
I mean-
the bandwagon effect.
Yeah.
Like one person has a point, and then everybody
No, you're
jumps
wrong.
on board.
Yeah.
No,
Or
that's
the
wrong.
opposite, or
Yeah.
everybody
See, I
else
think it's the
agrees.
new internet. The old internet used to just be mad at a thing. Now
Yeah.
the new internet is mad at you for liking a thing.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, they are going to be using Reddit for it. I mean, what do you think about this? You think that's a good idea? I mean, they
Might as well put Twitter in there too.
Yeah, because I mean, Twitter
that's
did it.
amazing.
Twitter turned that AI into a Nazi in like what is it, 20 minutes? Like
It did not
something-
take very
It
long.
did
It was
not
not
last
very
long,
long.
no.
Yeah. That
And
was some weird stuff.
Which company was behind that?
That was
That was
Microsoft.
Microsoft.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was, but I couldn't
And they were like,
remember.
whoops.
Yeah,
and then it
Microsoft
came back
did
on
that.
for a while too. I remember that was like it sort of like came back like a week after
They
they shut
tried
it
it
down,
again. Yeah.
and they were like maybe again, and it just immediately was like okay, that didn't work.
I love it
Never
because I
mind.
don't understand. Like, all of us could sit in this room, and if one of us said, "Hey guys, we're going to take a bot and put it on Twitter or Reddit to have it learn things," everyone in this room would go,
I don't know.
"You sure you want to do that?" Like, everyone would turn around and say no. But somehow it made it through like all of the meetings at Microsoft
Yeah.
and still made it onto Twitter.
Is there a safe place to go though for now that I'm thinking about it
Well,
for
that's
an
the
AI to learn conversational language?
I mean, and that's the thing. To me, I guess this was a very obvious point, but to me, it hadn't really been articulated until Ex Machina when he creates basically a brain out of Google.
Yeah.
And that's how the brain evolves into a real, a real artificial intelligence. And it's like, that really apparently is AI. It's just like tons of information flowing freely. So yeah, it's hard to understand how they're going to. I think they're trying to put some parameters around that idea by putting it in, Reddit.
Well, one of the nice things too about
Twitter.
Reddit that's easier than Twitter to look at is that you can look at a thread, look at a conversation, and say, here's where people are actually upvoting. Like, here's what people are saying is a good contributing comment, and here's what people
Right.
are saying is not contributing to the conversation. The problem is that doesn't actually work that way on Reddit.
Because they don't always upvote the right stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So it does have to be, you're talking about like AMA is like a good one where it's very curated. People are generally pretty straightforward with what they're saying. And there doesn't tend to be a lot of like bandwagoning, things like that. It would work
Sure.
out well. Whereas, if you use like gaming or like shitty ass science, it's going to be like super weird and not work correctly.
Right. No, that makes sense to me. I guess my first thought would have been, put it on something like Facebook because at least people's moms are there. And then, maybe somebody's going to say that one thing that you hope they didn't say to the AI.
Right.
But at the same time, I feel like a lot of times you get a lot of people on Facebook
It's true,
conversing with themselves. You know what I mean? Like they're just talking to the world,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
less conversation.
That's
so I don't know
true.
if the AI would pick up on that.
Well, and when
very-
it does get angry, it's always politics. Like
Yeah.
that's the one thing that people really, or like guns or some political issue.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
people get mad about.
If it were Facebook too, it would be such a self-absorbed AI.
It would.
Just all the time be like, just updated my firmware, lol. Yeah. Just flip some bits. What's up with you?
Or just
Taking a picture.
nondescript
posting
things like
pics of its motherboard.
FML. Don't even ask. Like,
Yes.
vague
what's
booking,
wrong, AI?
the vague booking AI.
I
that's the
can't
worst.
even right now.
Oh, they'll know.
That's not who you are. I just don't understand why if you put yourself out there and you get hurt and
Oh, that's got to be a sketch for somebody to make. The emo
the
AI.
the vague booking.
Yeah. All right, well, there we go. That is the plan to teach AI from Reddit. So let us know if you have any questions. There's a big article about this at digitaltrends.com as well. All right, it's been promised, and we need to deliver now. This is also going into the future, and this is something that I find, I know I said this about the Reddit AI thing, but this actually is, to look at physically is disturbing. And mainly because it lives underwater, and this is scary to me, but it has to do with octopuses, right? Is it octopuses
Octopi.
or No, I think octopi is wrong.
Oh,
Is it? Nobody else can back me up on this.
that's what
You know,
thought.
there are things that I spend my time on the internet.
I know.
It's really not.
Ryan,
My
I'm
writing very rarely takes me to the marine
Ryan, you're
biologist
supposed to be the
sector.
expert in here, so I mean, I'm gonna go with what you said.
I'm gonna say octopi. Sounds delicious.
Octopuses is more common. Well,
Okay.
we'll have to agree to disagree.
All right then.
So anyway, it is from a company called Santa Ana Biorobotics. Santa Ana Biorobotics Institute, excuse me, it's at that institute, and they're pioneering a field called soft robotics. So they're looking at the way people are building robots right now, and you look at like Boston Dynamics, where it's very rigid, it's meant to look like a person, and they're saying that that's the wrong way to actually start working on these, that you need to make them more flexible and need to make it, as they call it, a soft body, more like an octopus, in that you build this thing to be able to adapt to any situation. And they found that it can more easily, get over terrain, especially if you have it in the water. Obviously, that would work, but it can work on the land as well, and it can more quickly adapt to its surroundings.
This is where you get sentinels.
Exactly what I was thinking.
This
Yes.
is where
These
this
are
happens.
sentinels. Yeah, everything's from the
Slightly
movie.
more squid-like, but
Yeah.
that's exactly it.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, and I mean that's what they're looking at going for, and I get it, rationally. I can see what they're talking about, that they can do more things. Although
Oh,
the
that's
video,
creepy. It's so creepy.
if you haven't
Wanna
seen
grab you.
the video of it, if you listen to
let
via
it grab you.
podcast, go watch the video, because it's this thing's arms wrapping around human. Tentacles? It's tentacles wrapping around human arms. It's very disturbing.
Are octopuses that good at walking around on
yeah.
land?
Oh yeah.
Like, are they really?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm actually less afraid of the roboctopus
than the actual
That's a
ones.
good one.
Roboctopus.
than I
nice.
am real octopi.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that one of those things could actually look you in the eye
I know.
and be like, I'm going to do this.
And an
You're not going to
octopus.
stop me.
They're super smart too. Octopus.
Yeah,
like,
they're brilliant. So
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
really want that thing staring me in the face while it makes a decision.
But you want a mechapus?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
that's-
okay with that because then I can turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that-
so far.
That
Right now,
concerns
for now,
Until
I
we
can turn it
till we
off.
feed it that Reddit AI
Oh,
stuff,
yeah,
and
that's
then
true.
Right?
My concern really is that it's waterproof, because I always think with like the Boston Dynamics robots, one's charging at you, all you need is like a big glass of water, throw it in the thing's face, and it's done. But like this thing, what are you gonna do?
I
You
didn't
throw it
think
in the
about
pool
that.
because it's attacking you, and like it's coming right back out at you.
Yeah,
like,
God, can you imagine meeting a robot octopus in the pool? That's horrifying.
No, you're done. You're done. There's no surviving.
what's that? Is that your pool cleaner?
It's being
Oh my
noted
God.
in the chat on YouTube. It's octopuses. That's what Brendan is saying.
Fine, Brendan.
So I don't know. Ryan may dispute you on that one, but I'm pro Brendan on this situation.
fine.
Does Brendan have a degree from somewhere?
Yeah, let's
If
find
you were
let's
a
get
marine
Brendan on the
biologist,
show.
I mean, if he just works at
if he's a
UPS, I'm
marine
not really-
biologist,
We're going to turn this into a Reddit thread right now. All right. Well, anyway, there we go. I just wanted to showcase that, some of the future that they're working on with robotics. Before we sign off today, though, we do need to show Mr. Keeling King down here is a musician, a very talented one, and he's got an entire box set.
I do. I think
For Keeling, maybe you could explain Star Pilot.
The best way I can describe it, and I will bring this out and set it there. It is essentially a musical sci-fi epic that spans 3 albums. and it was made with I guess you could say a generic character who's just called Star Pilot. Like he has a personality and everything, and he runs through the series doing a bunch of things. And as you get through the second and the third album in the series, you get to understand who he is. But I thought it would be really fun to not, make him John whatever. I just wanted to make
he's just
a
Star
character,
Pilot.
right? So that you get more into the character and what the character's doing. So yeah, I started doing that back in 2011, and had a really great response from the first album. And so 2012, I decided to do a Kickstarter and do a second album in the series and continue the story, which I had never done anything like that before. So that was actually really fun. So after I did that, the first question I got, from after the Kickstarter was, when's the third one? And I was just like, I don't want to do a trilogy. Everybody's doing trilogy. Right. And so everybody's like, but when's the third one? And so I sat on it for a couple of years. And then last year, I ended up doing another Kickstarter and, putting together this giant box set here and just kind of collecting everything into, a big, there's 7 discs in there that, posters, cassettes. I was doing
comic book
stickers and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
Yeah. It was just a really fun thing. And I love science fiction. And I think everyone who plays music gets to a point where you try to make that decision. Well, do I think I'm going to be a pop star, or do I think I'm just going to be like a regular guy making music in my basement, or whatever you want to do. So I just decided, you know what? I love sci-fi and I love the way that I make music. So I'm just going to spend my time focusing on stuff that I enjoy. So whether or not I become a huge pop star is irrelevant to me.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, put something out there that, gave me a chance to kind of get into the thing I love the most and kind of, become a storyteller.
Well, and I can tell you it is fantastic. And what's the best website that people can go to?
The best website is starpilotmusic.com.
Starpilotmusic.com. So go there and check that out and pick up a copy of that album because it's awesome.
Please do.
It's great. All right. I
Goes
think
well
that's
with No Man's Sky, I would imagine.
Yeah, No Man's Sky. Oh, I bet it does.
Oh, you know what? Actually, as a matter of
Okay,
fact,
now we're starting a Reddit thread. We'll continue that.
Yeah. No, actually, to that point, if you go to music.keelingking.com, I actually released 3, I guess you could call them playlists of instrumentals from this series and a lot of other stuff that I've done for people to actually just download and play along while they're playing No Man's Sky.
Nice.
So yeah, if you go there, you'll be able to find all 3 of those, and they're actually free to download. So if if you're looking to get into something and maybe you don't want to shell out for one of the big box sets or anything like that, head over there and download some free music.
Awesome.
I'm imagining the name Star Pilot is already taken.
I think there may be a band with a similar name.
Oh, I just meant on No Man's Sky.
Oh, well, it will be now that we've said it.
Yeah.
I've tried to take everything I could that it doesn't work as well because it uses your PlayStation ID. So you can't actually go name your character unless you change your PlayStation ID, which was like, well, I don't want to do that. So you start naming planets and other creatures and things that, fall into those things.
Well, go starpilotmusic.com, go there. And take a look at that. And also, of course, check out all the other shows we have here at Digital Trends. So on Wednesdays, we do Close to the Metal, which you can check out on our YouTube channel. And we couldn't go a show without a siren. And then tomorrow at 2 p.m. Live here at 2 p.m. Pacific, we'll be doing Between the Streams with myself and Ryan. And so check out that and all the other shows that we have. We have audio versions, there's video versions. Watch them all, subscribe to them all, and send us in your questions to podcast@digitaltrends.com. And we'll be back next week with another episode.